Hello and welcome back to another Theory Thursday. Today we are talking about an important and popular jazz technique, but it's seen in all other kinds of music. I just know it from jazz. Today we're talking about enclosures. What are they? How do you use them? Are there different kinds? That's what we're talking about today. Enclosures. I've got my Timex Easy Reader on today. And as you can see, I've got my red tie on. As always, if you've been enjoying the tune videos, the theory videos, the solo videos, a like and subscribe is always appreciated, but not necessary. I love making these videos, and I want to keep making them. So it helps build the community. Anyway, I think that's it. So without further ado, enclosures. Let's go. Okay, you see I've got my guitar here because it really helps if you hear it, hear what I'm talking about here. Enclosures. What is it? How do you use them? What are they? So let's before we dive into using them, what is it? An enclosure is when you pick a pitch. Usually it's a chord tone, but it doesn't have to be. You have a destination note. That's what we'll call it. A destination note. And then to get there, you surround it above and below before you hit it. So for example, if our destination note was G on the top of the staff, right, this one right here, we'd go a note above it, a note below it, and then hit our G. Okay, you could also do it the other way. You could go below it, above it, and then hit the G. Okay, so there's two ways to do it. You can go above, below, or above. Now that's the basic thing. Now you're saying, John, how come if your destination note was G, you played an F and an A instead of an F sharp or an A flat? Okay, so there's those two ways, and within those two ways, above, below, or above, within those, there's another two things you have to think about. You can do enclosures diatonically or chromatically or both. So actually there's three. I lied. So I was playing as if we were in the key of C. There's no sharps or flats, right? The chord, the C major chord is coming up, and I want to hit a G note right when it comes up. That's the note I want to hit. So diatonically, there's no sharps or flats in the key of C, right? So if I'm going to hit that G, I hit the F, A, G, or I could go above, below. Okay, that's above, below. That's what we call a diatonic enclosure because we're only using the notes that are in the key. We're not going outside of the key because there's no sharps or flats. Now, the next step here, and it's not the next step. It's not like it's more difficult or anything. It's just a different sound. So it's just the next option is chromatically, and that's when you can throw diatonic keys out the window. And you have your destination note, and you're going to go a half step above it and a half step below it. So even though we're in the key of C, I hit an A flat, I hit an F sharp, and finally the G. So sometimes the chromatic enclosure can be more, it has a better resolution sometimes because it creates a lot more tension than a diatonic enclosure because you're taking the listener out of the key, creating some chaos, and then finally resolving it with that chord tone. Okay? Okay, let's go below above. There you go. Okay, so let me put two images up on the screen here. Over here we have a diatonic enclosure where your chord, your destination note is G. Okay, and then you have an A and an F. And over here we have our chromatic enclosure where we have our A flat, F sharp, G. Okay, so they're very similar. It's just half steps and whole steps and using notes that are only in the key. So the third option here within the enclosures is combining diatonic and chromaticism. So let's say you wanted that top note to be an A, right? Which is in the key of C. That sounds great too. That it's that leading tone of F sharp that pulls the ear up to that chord tone. You can do it the other way where you have the whole tone first and then a half tone. And it doesn't always work out that way. It's not always whole, half, half, whole. That's just because I picked the fifth of the key we're in. That's just how it worked out. So, for example, we'll put our chromatic note first, A flat, and then we'll play an F. So to me, it's a little bit less resolving. It's got a little bit less of a resolution to me, just because you have that half step, and you want to hit that, and instead of hitting it, and instead of giving you another very, very close half step, you have a whole. So those are the options. It's diatonic, chromatic, and a mix of both. And then you have to decide, do you want to go above below or below above? And that's that. And then the third step here is to choose where you want to put those enclosures in your playing, whether you're trying to spice up a melody or if you're improvising, where to put those. If you have a destination, and this is actually true not just with enclosures but with chromaticism as well. If you have a destination, you can take pretty much any route you want to get there to with. So if that destination is going to be a resolution, you can take a roundabout way of getting there if you wanted. So for example, if that is my, or let's use C just because we're in the key of C. All right, so I started on an E flat, which is not in the key of C at all. I did E flat, D, D flat, and finally C. But it sounded like it fit because of the last note, because of the resolution. All right, A, B flat, B, C. Same with enclosures. As long as you have a sound in mind and a destination point, it's up to you to whatever sound you're going for. I mean, if you want that real crunchy, I would go chromatic. And depending on what you're trying to hit. So let's say we're in the key of G, for example, right? So that was a chromatic thing. That was an F sharp, A flat to G. But technically that's half diatonic because this F sharp is in the key of G. So there's a million ways you can slice it. But that's the basics of enclosures. So now it's up to you to try them out, put them in a bunch of different places, and see if you like the sound of them. And then you'll have a good understanding of your tastes and what you like out of them, and whether you like the diatonic sound or the chromatic sound or the mix. And yeah, So lots to practice, lots to study and listen to. That's Enclosures. I think that's enough information for today. So hopefully you learned something. And we'll see you for the next one.